Hello everyone, this is Neemanim, and I am actually making a reply video for Christopher 3D. So they are a fellow content creator here on YouTube. If you like the idea of creating product renders or just modeling products, go ahead and check them out. They have a lot of good tutorials for hard surface, texturing, lighting, anything that occurs when it comes to product renders. But the latest video they put out, they were talking about wanting to have variations of the product, and I wanted to kind of show off how you can achieve that in the shader. So let's go ahead and go over to Blender. And real quick, I want to point out the lesson that he goes over in that video would be good if the geometry is different than what it is on the other variations. So if you have a specific sculpted pattern or anything that isn't normal map, then you would just easily do that method and you get the same result. But since we're just looking to change the color here, we can go into the mug. As you can see, I've made a pretty terrible looking mug here. We have in the shader for the body of the mug, we have the colors switching on each frame. And we also have a variant where if you need different boxes, like say on cereal boxes, you can also supply different images on each. I'm going to go ahead and go over the color first because it's the easiest and the simplest. As you see here, I have a group. The group value as input is currently purple. This is because I have a driver set on it, and the driver is just expressed with frame, which will give you the frame number you're currently on. So let's go ahead and dive into that group, and I'll show you where this comes from. So we have the frame number coming from the input into a divide. Now the divide is simply there to give us a number between 0 and 1, so percentage value, and we want to make sure that the division number is the number of colors that you want to choose from. And then, like I said, that will give us a percentage. This will go into the factor. A good way of understanding the way the factor works is this bar right here is 0 on this side, 1 on this side, and this is exactly where it's going to show up. So you can see as I pass the 50% mark where this green is, it switches from green to yellow. We're going to plug in that percentage we're getting from the divide. It's going to give us the right one for the frame number. And on the color ramp, we're just setting up colors evenly spaced with the amount of colors we need, and in each color node we pick the color we want. If we want this to be blue, green, pink, whatever it needs to be, we can pick it there, and the divide will go out into a normal principle and have that render. That's pretty much the simplest way I can explain how you can set it up just to be a shader-based color variation based on each frame. Now for images, it's a little bit more complicated. If you have a few images, it's going to be easy, but it's going to be a little bit more tedious. So as we had before, we have the frame number coming in, and we have our images here. In this case, we only have 3 images. Each image is being told when to display. Frame number comes in, it goes over to a greater than, it's going into 2 greater thans, and each one in sequence is 1 higher than the other. So if you do a duplication for a 4th image, we would do a greater than 3 and plug that in, just like that. And then another mix, and the mix goes into whatever image plus the greater than. So this mix is now deciding or down the chain of output. I'll get into the mix in just a second. But yeah, so these greater thans are just effectively saying, are you a 1, are you a 2, are you a 3, are you a 4, and so on. And then based on that, it goes into a mix. So you have the first tier mix, which is, sorry about that. We have the first tier mix, which is just the first 2 images. The greater than is saying 1 or 0. So you either have 1 or 0. There's no in between. We don't want 50%. And based on the winner of that mix will travel down to the next tier mix and do the same with this greater than. Are you a 1 or a 0? A or B? And the winner then gets outputted. So the images is a little bit more difficult to set up simply because it's more tedious to get it set up in the way. Now there is a issue with this where it's kind of hard to figure out how to divide between this color ramp and where to place them based on the number. So if you really wanted, you could actually set this up just to be the colors. So you can remove the images. So here I just removed the image. And I'm going to keep this top one because that's the winner coming in. And we can just tell it to be a specific color on here. If that's a much easier way of seeing how this works, or a much easier way of just adding more variation for you, that's another way you can do a color. That's essentially it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Yeah.